Welcome. Hello. Thanks for coming to this annual Tennessee Williams tribute reading. First, I want to thank the New Orleans Jazz Museum for hosting this event and thank you, and the New Orleans Theater Association for sponsoring it. To Travis for running lights and sound. Thank you, Travis. And telling me that I can stand up straight. I don't have to lean into the microphone. And I also want to thank the managing director of the festival, the ever stalwart and calm Tracy Cunningham. Tracy there? And most importantly, my co-curator of this event and the executive director of the festival, without whom it wouldn't be possible, Paul J. Willis. My name is Thomas Keith. Briefly, I edit the Tennessee Williams titles for New Directions, teach theater at Pace University, and work as a dramaturg and consultant. For the long version, ask me later. So, there are fuller bios for tonight's readers in the festival program and on the internet, but I want to give them at least a short introduction each because they deserve it and so you know who's reading. In alphabetical order, Beth Bartley D'Amour, if you would wave, is an actress who has appeared on Broadway regionally and is now a local NOLA actress. Her most recent film work can be seen in Richard Linklater's film Hitman, now streaming on Netflix. Beth is a graduate of the Interlochen Arts Academy and the Juilliard School. A distinguished professor at Georgetown University, Maureen Corrigan is the book critic for NPR's Fresh Air, and among her many honors is a citation for excellence from the National Book Critics Circle. Her memoir, Leave Me Alone, I'm reading, was published in 2005. The author of 6 novels, a story collection, and a book of nonfiction, Michael Cunningham, is best known for his PEN/Faulkner Award and Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, The Hours, which was also made into a successful film. His most recent novel, Day, which is beautiful, was published in 2023. Jewelle Gomez, is she hidden by the podium? Does she?
They'll see enough of me later.
She says you'll see enough of her later. Jewelle is a novelist, poet, and distinguished playwright. Among her many achievements is the first Black lesbian vampire novel, The Gilda Stories, which has been reprinted by City Lights Books of San Francisco and optioned for television by the producer of Lovecraft Country. Joan Larkin. Joan Larkin's 6th book of poems, Old Stranger, was published in 2024. Some of her other poetry has won the Lambda Literary and Audre Lorde Awards, and the Poetry Society of America honored her with the Shelley Memorial Award. Among other things, such as co-founding a lesbian feminist press in the 1970s, Joan has edited anthologies including Gay and Lesbian Poetry in Our Time, which is where I first read your poetry. Tim Murray, Tim, can be seen on The Other Two on HBO Max in the film Swan Song starring Jennifer Coolidge, and all over TikTok, 4.4 million likes. Like. 4.4 million and one. Murray has performed stand-up all over the US and the UK, and his new sketch comedy TV show, Wish You Were Queer, is produced by Trixie Mattel and will debut this year. John Ray Proctor is an assistant professor of theater at Tulane University and holds a BA in English, an MFA in acting, and a PhD. His primary research examines the intersection of race, casting, and the peculiarities and specifics of identity-conscious casting practices, particularly in Shakespeare. Ray has worked extensively as an actor and a director. And last but not least, Mink Stole is an actress who was a member of the original Dreamland Players, and as such, played a role in nearly every film by John Waters, often as the vengeful nemesis of leading lady Divine. Mink has described some of her other Waters roles as annoying, repulsive, and pure evil incarnate. Mink has played dozens of stage roles, including 2 by Tennessee Williams, both of which I got to work with her on. She played Trinket in The Mutilated in New York, New Orleans, and Provincetown, as well as Now the Cats with Jeweled Claws in New York and Provincetown. Currently, Mink's cabaret storytelling interview show, Idol Worship, is touring the US and internationally, and apparently she was a hit last night at the Monteleone. Tennessee Williams was frequently asked how he wrote his plays, how he came up with the plots, the characters, etc. His most frequent answer was variations on, I don't know, or I don't remember, or I just write them. Fair enough. His second most common answer is summed up nicely in an interview he gave aboard the SS Queen Mary while traveling to Italy in 1951. And this is worth searching for on YouTube, as it may be the earliest instance of Williams speaking on camera. And before the interview begins, they're sort of setting up, and you see his partner, Frank Merlo, dash into frame to snatch a fountain pen out of Williams' jacket pocket and then dash off. Taking care of him. Anyway, the relevant part went like this. The interviewer asks, when you start to write a play, what do you sort of get to first? The general story outline, or the characters involved, or the setting? What do you look for first? And Williams responded, I'm always a little confused by that question because I don't quite remember. Usually my long plays grow out of short plays, and usually the short plays grow out of short stories. So most playwrights start out writing one-act plays, and once they're established writers, they move on. Williams never stopped. He continued to write one acts until the month before he died. In the mid-1930s, he was in a writing group at Washington University in St. Louis with 2 other young men. One of them, Bill Smith, recalled that when Williams was asked what he had brought in to share with the group, whenever Williams said he had a new fantasy, it meant a one-act play. He called them his fantasies, and many of them fit that description. In a 1965 essay, Williams explained that his shorter works were most often diversions from whatever pachydermist project he was consumed with. He wrote that these diversions are undertaken simply as that, as diversions, and they nearly always have a quality in common, which is experimentation in content and in style, particularly in style. So, his diversions, fantasies, and experiments, excuse the water drinking. It's very performative. You can hear I'm a little hoarse. They often involve worlds that are quite clearly something other than our own. For example, there is the grotesque Cockaloonie Key with its gigantic predatory birds in the Gnadigas Fraulein. There's a fable of America in prim and proper Massachusetts in the play The Case of the Crushed Petunias. The science-fictional God-forsaken future planet Earth in the Chalky White Substance. The improbable and dangerous limbo of 10 Blocks on the Camino Reel. The fantastic Northern European fantasy with its own language and animals in A Recluse and His Guest. There's the mythical confrontation between Hart Crane and his mother at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico where he jumped to his death. In Steps Must Be Gentle. I've got a few more. Should I keep going? No? You got it? You got the idea? Yeah. So anyway, currently, there are at least 79 one-acts by Williams in print, a handful yet to be published, and dozens remain unfinished in archives. First up tonight, we have a story that takes place in a vaguely Latin American dictatorship about a young revolutionary's plan to assassinate their dictator during a military parade. On the way to his mission with his girlfriend, he encounters a feckless and obedient clerk who has been ordered to report to his own execution at the municipal slaughterhouse and is dutifully complying. He just can't figure out how to get there. Ray Proctor will read the final pages after the young man has failed to persuade the clerk to escape his fate. This is from Williams' 1966 political satire, The Municipal Abattoir. It premiered in Washington, D.C. in 2004 and was published in 2005. Ray.
Boy, I advise you to pull yourself together. Respect yourself as a man and go as far away from the municipal abattoir as you can go on the dime I gave you, and then get lost. Clerk. You're a young man, and you think that way because you haven't been a municipal employee for more years than you can count. As for me, when I'm told to do something by someone in authority, I do it without question. Boy. Your body cut and pulped by a mashing machine and sold in tins to be eaten by any Tom, Dick, or Harry and their wives, children, and dogs. Clerk. Can't you see how terrified I am of it? I might have tried to protest, to appeal, but you see, when I was your age, I was a pacifist. So no, now I see no possible way to avoid, to choose otherwise, since I really don't have any choice. And after all, being unemployed now and not wanted at home, Boy, you have a family? Clerk. Yes, a wife and boy. How does your wife feel about you going to the municipal abattoir? Clerk. Oh, she feels as I do, that I have no choice in the matter. Boy, a choice is something you have to invent for yourself. So go down to the next traffic light, wait for the tram, and take it and stay on it as far as it goes. I've given you the free advice, and I've given you your tram fare, and there's nothing else I can give you or do for you. Clerk. Yes, I know. Thank you. But could you possibly tell me where the abattoir is? Boy. That's right, I could, but I won't. Clerk. You're the only person I know. If I may say that I know you, who doesn't think I should go there? Boy. Hell, go there. Go there. If you've lost the power to choose anything for yourself. But I'll tell you something. Here the procession is coming. There's distant band music. Boy. It's coming right by here, and I'm going to interrupt it with this little instrument of interruption. Feel it in my pocket? He seizes the clerk's hand and places it on his pocket. Clerk. Is it... Boy. Yes, a revolver with 6 bullets. Clerk. No. Throw it over the wall. They'll shoot you down if they... Boy. What a scared little man you are. And yet, you asked me where the municipal abattoir was. Clerk. I do what I'm told to do. I go where I'm told to go. I never question instructions. Boy. Good. I will give you instructions. I'm your commander now. You are my slave. Clerk, how am I your slave? Boy, by appointment just now. Look me in the eyes, straight in the eyes, and think of your daughter at the municipal whorehouse, used by diseased, dirty men. She'd cover her face if you ever saw her again, because her skin would be covered with, clerk, don't! Boy, do what I tell you to do. Take this bloody flag in one hand, this revolver in the other, and make sure the flag hides the revolver, which is loaded for bear. Understand me? Clerk, yes, but, boy, you're going to do exactly what I say. You are my slave. I am your commander. Now then, the procession is going to pass right by here in about a minute. The general's car is the first one behind the motorcycles. Understand me? Clerk, yes, but, boy, just say yes, no but. Clerk, yes? Boy, all right. When the first limousine is about to pass by here, you scream out, "Viva, viva!" and wave your flag, and at the same time running into the street. And before you are stopped, you empty this revolver, loaded for bear, directly into the face and chest of the general. Fast, fast, fast as you can. Okay, slave? Understand me? Clerk, yes? Boy, it will be quicker and easier for you than keeping your appointment at the municipal abattoir, and your name and picture will be on the front page of every newspaper in the world. Understand me? Clerk, yes? Boy, then I'll leave you here. But remember, my eyes and the eyes of the world are on you. Accidentally, just through asking a question of someone unknown on a street, your meaningless life is elected to glory, and your death to the death of a hero. Goodbye. Embrace me. He draws the man into his arms, then thrusts him back. Dear slave, immortal saint, martyr, and hero. He leaves over the low wall back of the pavement. The procession comes roaring by. Clerk waving his banner. Viva, 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 viva! The roar of the procession dies out. Clerk to the audience. I wonder if you would be kind enough to direct me to the municipal abattoir? I don't want to be late. They make it harder for you if you don't come on time. Oh, I'll write it down. Thank you. He removes a little notebook from a pocket and writes down the address as the stage dims out. Curtain.
The gnädiges Fräulein, which means pretty young miss in German, takes place, as I mentioned earlier, in a grotesque version of Key West, Florida, Cockaloonie Key, where a faded opera singer fights predatory giant birds for fish. And in this scene, Jewelle Gomez, if you want to come up here, will read the role of Polly, a local reporter. You come over here. And Mink Stole will read the role of Molly, the owner of a boarding house, as they rock in their rocking chairs while smoking a joint on the front porch. Mink and Jewelle.
What you mopping up, Molly?
Blood.
Well, the best time to mop up blood is before daybreak.
It wasn't shed before daybreak.
Well, the next best time to mop it up's after dark.
That's not the policy of a good housekeeper.
There's been some violence here.
Yep. I chopped the head off a chicken.
On the front porch, Molly?
Nope, in the backyard, Polly.
It sure did make a long run, all the way round the house and up the front steps and right on into the parlor. Yep, I know a chicken can run with its head cut off, but I never known it to make such a long run as that with such a good sense of direction. Molly, this explanation that you were mopping up chicken blood don't hold water. There's been some violence here, and the victim wasn't a chicken. That I know, as well as I happen to know that you ain't had a live or dead piece of poultry on these premises since that old Rhode Island red hen that you was fattening up for Thanksgiving died of malnutrition before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, why don't you go over to your desk at the Cockaloony Gazette and work on your gossip column, Polly, and let me finish this mopping up operation without the nasal monotone of your voice to distract me and annoy me to distraction. Huh, Polly?
How long has it been since you got a favorable mention in my society column?
Never read it. When a lady's sure of her social position as I am, she don't concern herself with gossip columns.
You're asking for a bad write-up.
Couldn't care less. Pooh for you.
You don't mean that.
Yes, I do.
I see you got a vacancy sign in your window.
What about it?
You got a vacancy sign in your window and you're mopping up blood on your porch.
No connection. None at all whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a vacancy sign in that window since I knocked out the walls of the private bedrooms to make the big dormitory. Because in a big dormitory, there's always room for one more. I do a quantity business. Also a quality business, but the emphasis is on quantity in the big dormitory because it's furnished with 2 and 3 level decker bunks. It offers accommodations for always one more.
Yeah, well, this type of material is okay for the classified ads, but not for the gossip column and the society page. So I reckon I'll just toddle on. Toodaloo. She has opened her Pan Am zipper bag and removed a suspiciously thin cigarette.
What you took out of your Dorothy bag, Polly? A Mary Jane?
Ta-ta, toodaloo. See you someday, maybe.
Polly, sit down in this rocker and rock. I guarantee you material for your column.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Molly. But I really do have to be going. I have to cover, well, something somewhere.
Polly, I promise you, sweetheart, that in the course of this late afternoon, no matter how the sky changes through light and shadow, I'll give you material for the goddamnest human and inhuman interest story you ever imagined, Polly. Besides, your ankles look swollen. Sit down on a comfortable rocker and let's rock together while we turn on together, huh, honey? Pushes her into the rocker. Wait. Let's synchronize rockers. Hold yours still till I count to 3, okay?
Count away.
1, 2, 3, rock.
Whee!
Now we're rocking a beautiful unison, Polly.
In tune with the infinite, Molly.
In absolute harmony with it.
Huff, huff, huff.
Whee! I love to rock. It reminds me of my girlhood romances, Polly.
One of your girlhood romances is still in traction, ain't he?
That's a lie. He gets around fine. On crutches. Now, Polly, about the big dormitory, Polly.
Whew. Huff, huff, huff. Whee!
I said about the big dormitory, Polly.
Whee!
1, 2, 3, stop, rockers. She stops Polly's rocker so abruptly that Polly is nearly thrown to the floor. Let's have a little propriety and some decorum on the front porch, Polly. You're not out back at a woodshed. I was saying about the big dormitory. The overhead operating expenses such as free limousine service are astronomical, Polly.
Oh?
So, I can't afford to buy advertising space in the Cockaloony Gazette. And in the light of this situation, which is a mighty dark situation, I could use and would surely appreciate the use of a knockout feature story in your next Sunday supplement, Polly. A 2-page spread with photos of personages and captions without a word of profanity in them. How does that strike you, Polly?
It don't strike me, Molly. It whistles over my head like a cockaloony.
I'm dead serious, Polly.
It's natural to be serious when you're dead. Whee! She resumes rocking.
Molly stops the rocker so forcibly that Polly slides onto the porch floor.
Ow!
Cow. Get back in your rocker and listen to what I tell you. You'd go a long way out of your way to find a richer gold mine of material in the class category that I got here. The big dormitory under the tree of God. I've got real personages here. A fantastically tattered old wino with fishing tackle comes around the side of the building, tipping his topless bowler with a clown's grin and staggering in several directions.
Including that one?
That's an old family domestic I keep on the premises for sentimental reasons.
Thank you.
Next is Every 20 Minutes, a short sketch from the late 1930s. Beth Bartley D'Amour will read the role of a woman, and I will read the role of a man. And Williams went to the movies a lot.
Scene. The corner of a fashionable city apartment with a radio, chair, sofa, cellarette with floor lamp. A man and a woman about 40 have just returned from a late party. The man is glancing through the paper and drinking a highball. The woman is smoking. They say that every 20 minutes, someone in America kills himself.
Who says?
The newspapers.
How the hell do they know?
Well, they've got statistics.
My God, they've statistics for everything, haven't they? He turns a page.
That's rather often, don't you think? For people to be killing themselves?
No, not often enough, really, when you think of the number of kinds of people there are.
Turning away. You're such a cynic, George.
Lightly. Oh, no, just a realist.
Call it what you wish. I think you're very cold-blooded proposition.
I belong to a cold-blooded generation, the generation of fish. We sink or swim, and nobody gives a damn which. He takes another drink.
Thank God I was born with a set of decent emotions.
Emotions are troublesome things.
Without them, life is just a set of automatic reflexes.
What's wrong with that? Damn convenient, I think. Saves one a lot of needless stewing. Have a drink.
No, thank you. I've had my quota tonight.
I can't say they've done you much good.
I'm still conscious, if that's what you mean.
Yes, that's what I mean. He turns the radio on.
Clasping her head. Please leave it off.
Why?
I've got a headache.
Take an aspirin.
It isn't that kind of a headache. She sinks onto the couch.
What kind is it then?
The kind that goes on and never stops.
May I suggest a remedy?
Yes, if you only would.
You'll find my revolver in the left-hand drawer of the chifforobe. Results guaranteed.
Perhaps I will surprise you by using it someday.
Nothing would surprise me. He drinks again.
No, I guess nothing would. Are you really alive?
I think so.
But you're not absolutely sure of it.
One can't be sure of anything these days.
Do you have sensations?
Yes.
Likes and dislikes?
Yes.
What do you like, George?
The faint, spicy fragrance of a carnation, good whiskey,
And being untrue to your wife.
giving her a quick, cold glance. Yes, that most of all.
You're admirably frank about it.
Why shouldn't I be?
You might wish to spare my feelings.
Your feelings are yours, not mine.
You loved me once.
Did I?
Yes. Once.
How do you know?
You told me you did.
Perhaps I was lying.
Violently. If you were, you ought to be hanged for it.
Why?
Because I believed you.
You were much too credulous in your younger days.
I guess I never belonged to this generation of fish which you're so proud of representing.
No, my dear, you're a hopeless anachronism.
I thank God for that, if it means having red blood in my veins.
Do you?
Yes.
Even though it makes you miserable.
Yes. Even though it makes me miserable.
Well.
I can't live without something to care for.
Then care for something.
I haven't got anything.
Get something.
What?
A lover, perhaps.
That sort of thing is disgusting.
You see how contradictory you are? You say you're miserable without something to care for, and when I suggest something, you say that it's disgusting.
I want something real. I don't want a trumped up affair.
Well, after all, that's your problem. I can't solve it for you. He turns the radio on again.
Will you leave that radio off?
No,
It's driving me to distraction.
I like the orchestra.
You know I can't stand jazz.
Stretching himself. I love it. It's America, my dear, our native land.
Maybe yours, not mine.
It's the goldfish bowl that we swim in.
I hate it.
Because of its barbarism?
It isn't barbaric. It's ultra-civilized. It's neurotic.
So is America. So am I. So are you. We're all of us inmates of a vast asylum, bordered on the north by the Arctic Ocean, on the south by the Straits of Magellan, on the east by the...
Screaming, stop! Pause.
Quietly. Your nerves, my dear.
Rising slowly. Yes, my nerves.
You'd better go to your room and sleep it off.
Yes, sleep it off. That's good. She laughs bitterly and goes toward the door.
Would you mind leaving me a cigarette?
Here.
Thank you.
Not at all. She goes to the inner door. Is there anything that I can do for you, George?
Nothing.
Are you quite sure?
Nothing.
Screaming. Nothing. Nothing. She goes in and slams the door. Man gazes at it mildly for a moment. The end.
So, Williams fell in love for the first time when he was 30. A 3-week romance in Provincetown in 1941 with a Canadian draft dodger named Kip Kiernan. Williams wrote about that summer and that 3-week romance and Kip multiple times over the course of his life. The first was to sketch out a one-act that summer in 1941, right after it happened. Then to rewrite that one act in 1962. Then finally he rewrote it again and submitted it for publication in 1977. It premiered in Provincetown in 2006 and was published in 2008. Michael Cunningham will read this scene from the parade. If I can invite you up there, sir. In which the young writer, Don, is oblivious to the fact that the young woman he is speaking with, his friend Miriam, is in love with him. Instead, Don can only focus on the presumably straight dancer who won't give him the time of day. Michael.
Thank you. Dawn. The sun's so bright today. It makes me feel like a shadow. All of my life begins to seem like a shadow, but I am alive, aren't I? Miriam, of course you're alive. Touch me. Do I feel solid? Perfectly solid, Dawn. Thanks. I didn't know. There is your shadow, Dawn. Well, it's reassuring. It should be reassuring. Now, I thought perhaps the sun had begun to shine right through me. What makes desire? I mean, desire for a face or a body. Why does flesh in certain forms become an obsession with you? Why does it darken your mind? Miriam, because you have passion. Put it into your work. I have put it into my work, but I'm still not satisfied. Miriam, then love someone who can love you. Transfer your longing to someone who could return it. Dawn. Oh, it's too hard for me. I've given myself to people I don't care for. But as soon as I love, then I lose all my character. I seem to dissolve. Love makes some people charming, but it makes me dull. I haven't thought of anything to say for several hours. He was here dancing. I supplied the rhythm. We didn't have Wanda's portable, so I just sat there in the corner, beating my hands together with a silly, squinting grin on my face while he danced. He danced and danced. Now, isn't the sunlight blinding? Is there something about today that seems funny to you? Miriam, it seems like yesterday or the day before. Dawn, yeah, they're all alike here, all the days, but they have a cumulative effect, like equal blows on a rock, each alike, but one finally cracking it open, making it fall to pieces. Who's the rock? You? Dawn. Now, suppose I'm flattering myself. I'm dull as a rock, but not as strong as a rock. Oh, you're probably stronger than you think. I don't think you're going to fall to pieces. Oh, yeah, not unless you let yourself. Then what shall I do to prevent it? Miriam, get out from under whatever is striking against you. Dawn. Not till I'm sure that it's useless. You know, a miracle might happen. I might suddenly find my tongue in his presence and pour my heart out, and he might suddenly stop dancing for a minute. Do you think so? No. He turns with a slow, tired smile. No, I don't. Miriam, then get away quick while you can, you little fool. Don't stay any longer. Take the Boston boat this afternoon. Oh, Christ. I've been empty so long. I've got to have something to fill me. Your work. No. I want love. then go where love can be given. Don't go for water to an empty well. I had to. I couldn't help it. How do you know that it's empty? Miriam, you know it yourself. You said so. You know, today seems funny to me. How? You know, I'm conscious of my whole life stretching behind me. You know, I feel the weight of every single day. A weight, you know, and a vagueness, too, a tremendous vagueness. I think that I've been traveling through fog, but look how brilliant it is. Hey, did you ever blow soap bubbles? No. I'm looking back at everything. I remember single days, hours. None of them was ever complete in itself. They're all expectant. You know what I mean? They had their faces all turned one way toward the future as though a parade was coming, was going to pass. Well, I've stood here waiting so long that my neck's getting stiff from craning in one direction toward the distant calliope sound that doesn't get any closer. Is it imaginary? I mean, I see it in my head. Miriam, then you don't have to actually see it. It's better in your head. A vision's less apt to be disappointing. No, I want to see the real thing. Experience it in the flesh. I haven't, but I can describe it as if I did. The elephants are roped together with strings of pearls. The stately camels, they're ornamented too, purple velvet trappings, brocaded, tasseled. The cleverly trained monkeys, they have on crimson silk jackets with golden bells. The bells clatter. There's a fanfare of trumpets. But it's all in my head. None of it's actually come by, and my neck's getting stiffer. Fat people are moving in front of me, blocking my view. I squeeze between. They complain and they shove. One of them stepped on my foot so hard it'll ache for hours. Miriam, I'd give it up then. Yeah, I suppose you're right. It was just a false report, a rumor without foundation, a beautiful myth. Or maybe the route was changed. You know, the elephants may have revolted against their drivers, right? Possibly trampled them, even as they turned at some intersection not expected. See it? Slowly, ponderously, with beautiful, massive grace. They've turned away from one route that was planned in advance, and the others have followed suit. They've all gone up a back street just distant enough so I can't even be sure that I hear the music. Miriam, you think the parade is love? What else is brilliant enough to make a parade?
By the late 1930s, Williams was experimenting with plays in which the internal monologues of the characters could be heard by the audience. He later used that same technique to good effect in A Streetcar Named Desire, where music in Blanche's head and jungle sounds and fears were audible to the audience. In a one-act titled, Why Do You Smoke So Much, Lily? A short story in one act, a young woman in St. Louis, Lily, who is considered a bohemian by her society-conscious mother, is at a pressure point where she is required to come out as a debutante, no matter how alien it is to her nature. Joan Larkin, if you come on up, will read the final scene in which the mother leaves the gender nonconforming Lily alone, and the young woman's anxiety manifests as a familiar, nagging voice.
The taxi is honking outside. Mrs. York bustles to the door. Mrs. York, turning toward Lily as she leaves, I wish you'd quit smoking so much. It's ruining your skin, simply ruining your... The door slams on her voice. Lily sways slightly on the couch as if drunk. She rises stiffly to her feet and begins to wander aimlessly around the 5-room apartment. She scatters ashes wherever she walks. When the cigarette is half consumed, she extinguishes it against the paneled wall of the dining room and deposits the butt on a serving tray. Then she lights another. She retires to her own room. Its furnishings are ivory and the curtains and bedspread are pink. Lily herself is dark and sallow. Her features are biggish, her body long and angular. She would make a rather good-looking young man. She stands in the center of the pink and ivory room and draws upon the cigarette. Her fingers start shaking again. She presses her hand to her forehead and gasps sharply. The cigarette slips from her fingers and plops to the floor. She grinds it beneath her heel and lights another. Puffing voraciously, she sinks down on the bed. Its softness makes her more restless. She gets up, still smoking, and walks around the room some more. She pauses in front of the vanity and looks into its huge polished mirrors. She grins and simpers at her reflection. Automatically, her lips begin to mumble certain phrases, which are most familiar to her mother's lips at social gatherings they have attended together. At first, she speaks the words aloud. Then she seems to become frightened. She falls back from the mirror. She clamps both hands over her mouth and then over her ears. But the voice which she has created cannot be stemmed, even though her own lips are now quiet. Its ghostly whisper goes on in the simpering falsetto tone which her mother employs on social occasions. Voice. Lily's a most unusual child. She's really very much like her poor father. He was the intellectual type too, you know, quite interested in writing. Dear Stephen. He had to give it up, of course, when we got married. But he kept all his old papers, kept them locked up in his desk. I'll never forget the fuss that he made when I burned them. He cried like a baby. Poor, dear Stephen, a brilliant man, but he had such an impractical nature before our marriage. I cured him of that. He came around beautifully after the first few years. I managed nearly all his affairs. Lily's just like him, dear child. It's just a stage that she'll have to pass through, this intellectual nonsense. Sooner or later, she'll be wanting a home and children, of course, like all the other young girls. And I'm sure, quite sure, that she'll make some man an awfully good wife. Lily extinguishes her cigarette against a spot in the mirror which reflects one of her eyes. She opens the drawer of the vanity, takes out a silver case, presses it open, removes another cigarette, and flicks the lighter. Lily, whimpering like a tired child. Father, Father, why did you have to leave me like this? She springs suddenly from the chair, slams both doors, locks them, throws herself face downwards upon the bed. Lily, passionately, Father, she's getting me like she did you. She's just killing me, Father. Did you hear her last night? I tell you, the counterpane catches fire from the cigarette. She slaps it out and gets up. Lily, laughing wildly, oh my God, I've gone crazy. She gasps and looks toward the locked doors. Through all the rooms of the silent apartment, she seems to hear the fretful ghost of her mother's voice bearing in upon her. Again, quietly at first, then with a deafening shrillness. Voice slow and whining. Why do you smoke so much, Lily? It's ruining your skin. Lily, your complexion's getting sallow. The voice grows more piercing. Look at your fingers, Lily. They're yellow. And your teeth, good heavens, tobacco stains all over them. The voice becomes like a fist banging at the door. Lily, Lily, why do you smoke so much? It's wrecking your nerves. That's why you're cross all the time. You can't sleep. You act like you're losing your mind. It's those damned cigarettes that do it. Those damned cigarettes. That's why you can't sleep nights. It's wrecking your nerves. Oh, it's no use wasting money on nerve specialists, Lily, when you keep up this eternal smoking. Smoking, smoking, smoking all the time, Lily. Lily lifts her hands to her eyes and shuts her eyes tight. Lily, oh, Mother, I wish you'd keep still. The cigarette burns the tips of her fingers. She crushes it out and hastily, almost frantically, lights another. She tries to concentrate on the stillness of the vacant rooms outside. There's really no voice. Her mother is gone. The rooms outside are empty. But through all their emptiness, the remembered voice still pulses like the nerves of her cigarette-burned fingers. Voice, what haven't I done for you, Lily? I've sent you to the most exclusive schools. You took the most expensive European tour, thousands of dollars spent on your debut. I saw that you met the right people, all the eligible men in town, lived way beyond our means, went into debt just to give you the proper background, Lily, the best advantages. But it can't go on forever. You aren't getting any younger, you know. You'll have to perk up. You don't have to be pretty. Just smile. Play up to them, Lily. Let them see that you've got some life in your bones. That's what they want. Play up to them. Play up to them, Lily. God knows that I've done all I can. Lily is really frightened now. She buries her face in her hands and claws at her forehead. The cigarette falls unnoticed on the ivory top of the dresser and burns a brown scar. In the outside hall, she hears footsteps. The key turns in the lock, and the stout, middle-aged woman, breathing heavily, trundles into the front of the apartment. It is her mother returning from the beauty parlor. It is her mother, scented with hyacinth, freshly marcelled. Instantly, she begins to sniff at the blue-tinted air. Mrs. York screaming at the top of her voice. Lily, Lily! The house is simply filled with smoke and ashes. Curtain.
From the mid-1950s until his death, Williams was often diminished by front-rank critics who insisted he could not write the role of a real woman, the implication being that it was because he was a homosexual, and that his famous female characters were simply men in drag, and they would say as much. Needless to say, the insult was not lost on him, and over the years, he became quite defensive about it. In a 1971 interview, Rex Reed brought up the subject yet again, and this was Williams' reply. If I'm writing a female character, God damn it, I'm going to write a female character. I'm not going to write a drag queen. If I want to write a drag queen, I'll write a drag queen. And I have written one, as a matter of fact, which will be produced someday. The setting is New Orleans, and it's called And Tell Sad Stories of the Deaths of Queens, and it's about a drag queen, and I think it's quite funny. Well, after reading that, intrepid scholar Nick Moskovakis tracked down the manuscript. It premiered in Washington, D.C. in 2004, directed by Michael Kahn, and was published in 2005. In his opening stage directions to the play, Williams did something unusual. He provided a caution about how to play a role. Quote, "The effeminacy of Candy is too natural, too innate to require expression in mannerisms or voice. The part should be played without caricature. Candy is not a performer in the way that most people who identify as drag queens are today. Candy is closer to what we might call a cross-dresser, but would have been referred to as a queen. He dresses primarily as a man during the day, but as a woman in the evening. Candy has picked up a merchant marine who at that time would have been considered trade, rough trade. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Tim Murray will read the roles of Candy and Carl from this play about people who are blind to their own patterns, and so they repeat them. Tim.
Carl, I don't go with queers. Candy, I told you about my husband. Well, I never cheated on him. I'm the monogamous type. He did the cheating. And I was so trustful, I didn't suspect it till after it had been going on for years. Well, change is the heart of existence. I hold no grudge against him. We broke things off in a very dignified way. We had a joint bank account. I bought out his share of the business with my half of the money, and he is now in Houston with his new chick. Starting all over again, and I wish him luck with it. However, he's picked a wrong one. But infatuation is even blinder than love, especially when the victim is at the dangerous age like he is. Well, he'll wake up soon and realize that he let a good thing go for one that's basically rotten, just younger. Are you looking for something? Carl, ain't you got something to drink? Candy, I've got just about the best stocked liquor cabinet in the French Quarter, baby. Carl, now you're talking. Ain't you drinking? Candy, no, I never drink. Carl, Jesus, you're a card. Candy, the Joker in the deck? Carl, no, the Queen. Candy, I like you very much. I feel safe with you. Carl, that's a mistake. Nobody's safe around me when I'm liquored up. Candy, I think I would be. I think you like me too. Carl, you're going to be disappointed. Candy, I don't think so. Carl, you're not going to get what you're after. Candy, how do you know what I'm after? Carl, you're different, but not that different. You want to be laid, and you won't be. Not by me. Candy, you see? You've misunderstood me. It's happened already, just as it always does. I'd love to have anything at all between us, but I would be just as happy with your true friendship, true and lasting, as with a mutual thing between us in bed. That's true. I would. I swear it. Carl, then you're different, all right. During this or his next long speech, Candy goes through the bamboo curtain into the bed area. Yes, I told you I was. I'm going to tell you something which you may think is a lie. You are only the second man in my life. The first was Mr. Sidney Corngold. He brought me out in Atlanta when I was a chicken, just as dumb as they come, knew there was something wrong with me, but not I was queer. This man stopped me on the Peachtree Street in Atlanta and asked me if I was a girl or a boy. He thought that I was a girl in boy's clothes. I told him that I was a boy, indignantly. He said, "Come home with me." However, he didn't take me to his home. Mr. Corngold was a respectable married man with 2 kiddies. However, he had this double life downtown. He took me to a suite in a hotel, which he kept under a different name, opened a closet containing girls' clothes and wigs, told me to get into something. I did, including the wig. And he seduced me. Carl. Yeah? Candy. What he didn't know, his wife had put a tail on him, a private dick. She sued him for a divorce, naming me as the correspondent. It was not a public trial. To keep it private, he had to sell his business and give this woman everything that he owned. We left Atlanta together. He was my sponsor. He put me up in business. I already had a talent for decorating. I felt obliged to make good, and I did. I made good. This was 18 years ago. We remained together for 17 years. Only last year we broke up. I discovered that he'd been cheating on me in spite of the fact that I'd been completely faithful. It broke my heart. I have pride. I bought out his share in the business with my half of our joint bank account and started from scratch on my own. He went to Texas with his new chick. People follow set patterns over and over. Haven't you noticed they do? Carl, what are you doing in there? Candy, changing clothes and sex. He emerges in drag. I'm a transvestite. Here I am. Carl, are you crazy? Candy, no, just very abnormal, I guess. Carl, well, I got to admit, Candy, what? Carl, you're as much like a woman as any real one I've seen. Candy, thank you. That's the object. Carl, sure you're not one? Candy, want me to show you? Carl, no. Candy, how was your drink? Does it need freshening yet? Carl, yeah, I'm a very heavy drinker. Candy, you'll notice I'm being very feminine now in my talk and my mannerisms as well as appearance. Isn't that what you want? Carl, you must be loaded. Candy, rich? No, just well off. My life expectancy isn't a long one, and I see no reason to put aside much for the so-called rainy day. Carl, you're sick? Candy, haven't you noticed how short-winded I am? One of my upstairs tenants, the younger one, is a poet. Let me read you a poem he wrote about queers, which I think is lovely. Not great, no, but lovely. Produces and reads the lyrics. I think the strange, the crazed, the queer will have their holiday this year. I think for just a little while there will be pity for the wild. I think in places known as gay, in special little clubs and bars, Pierrot will serenade Pierrot with frantic drums and sad guitars. I think for some uncertain reason, mercy will be shown this season to the lovely and misfit, to the brilliant and deformed. I think they will be housed and warmed and fed and comforted a while before with such a tender smile the earth destroys her crooked child. That's it. It's dedicated to me. Just to my initials. It's going to come out in a little mag soon. He's the nicer of my upstairs tenants. They occupy the slave quarters. When they go out, I will show you their place because it's one of my best interiors and very ingenious in the use of small space. Only 2 rooms and a... You look unhappy. Why?
Our final reading for tonight comes from a short play written at the beginning of World War II, most likely after the United States entered the fray. A young debutante from Bryn Mawr is home visiting her family in New Orleans when she notices a book of poetry holding up the short leg of a table at an antique shop on Charter Street. She buys the book, or he gives her the book for free. She reads the poems, inspired by the poems of the unknown Anthony Paradise. She decides that she will revive his career. She makes it her mission, and she finally tracks him down where he lives in a tiny, squalid apartment in New Orleans, where the disheveled author is dressed in a filthy old robe and slippers. Maureen Corrigan will read the roles of the undaunted young idealist and the obscure old poet, Mr. Paradise.
Mr. Paradise, here you are and here I am. Yes, indeed. What are you intending to do about it? Girl. Oh, don't you know? Can't you guess, Mr. Paradise? I'm going to give you back to the world. Mr. Paradise, give me back to the world? Girl. Yes, the stupid, blind, negligent world that let you slip away. Mr. Paradise, suppose I don't want to go back. Suppose I prefer to remain in oblivion, young lady. Girl, you can't. I won't let you. It's useless for you to resist. Don't try, Mr. Paradise. Don't try. I've already set the ball in motion. Mr. Paradise, then stop it quickly, please. Girl, no, I've written letters to influential people, writers and publishers that I know in the East. I've already created a great deal of interest in you. When I leave here, you're going to leave here with me. Mr. Paradise, no. Girl, oh yes, you are. You're going to live among people who appreciate genius. You're going to give readings and lectures. Mr. Paradise, readings? To whom? Girl, clubs, colleges, societies of poets. Mr. Paradise, lectures? On what? Girl, beauty, art, poetry. Mr. Paradise, God forbid. Haven't you been reading the papers lately? Girl, why? Mr. Paradise, today the world is interested in gunpowder. Poetry cannot compete with the sound of bursting shells. These are the times for the discovery of new weapons of destruction, not for the resurrection of neglected poets. Even if I wished to be resurrected, Gabriel has not yet blown the horn. The surest and cruelest way to destroy Anthony Paradise the poet is to exhibit Jonathan Jones, the man, or what is left of the man. Don't you see that? What a grisly spectacle I would present on a college lecture platform. Look at me. You're not blind. What do you see? Girl, the way you look doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. Maybe not to you because you're young and generous. No, the time isn't right. Keep the book. Remember my name. And watch the obituary column. Someday you will see the name of Jonathan Jones. Then come back again and look up Mr. Anthony Paradise. That will be his time when Jones is dead. Jones is a living contradiction of Paradise. Paradise won't have a chance to breathe till Jones has stopped breathing. Take my word for that and be satisfied. Girl, can't you be Anthony Paradise now, again? No, it's too late. I'm too old. Death is the only thing that can possibly save my reputation. Go back to school, little girl. There's an end to everything, even to supplies of gunpowder. When they're exhausted, people will start looking again under broken table legs for little volumes of forgotten verse. By that time, Jonathan Jones will be safely out of the way. The sun will be shining in a clear blue sky. Wind will stir the grass on the tops of hills. Children will dig in sand on sunny beaches. The world will be warm and serene and as young as tomorrow. Then all the old, sweet, gentle voices will be distinguished once again. You will hear the wind in the trees and rain on the roof and the songs of long-lost poets. Guns explode and destroy and are destroyed, but these little songs, however little and unimportant they are, they keep on singing forever. They have their times of eclipse, but they rise again. The motion of life is upwards. The motion of death is down. Only the blindest of all blind fools can fail to see which is going to be finally highest up. Not death, but life, my dear. Life, life. I defy them to stop it forever. Not with all their guns, not with all their destruction. We will keep on singing. Someday the air all over the earth will be full of our singing. A horn sounds. Mr. Paradise. Is that your chauffeur? Girl. Yes. You'd better go. Girl. Mr. Paradise. Yes. Girl. Maybe you're right. I'm going to do what you say. Keep the book and remember your name, Mr. Paradise. And watch the obituary column. Girl. Yes. And when the time comes, you can depend on me, Mr. Paradise. Thank you, my dear. I shall depend on you. Girl, I promise I won't fail you. Your future is safe in my hands. And now, Mr. Paradise, won't you kiss me goodbye? Mr. Paradise, no. Girl, why not? Mr. Paradise, no. For the same reason that I wouldn't touch a clean white tablecloth with mud all over my fingers. Girl, oh, gravely extends her hand. Goodbye, Mr. Paradise.
And there we have it. What a great group. Thank you all.